Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about The Horror of Godzilla issue 1, written by Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan, with art by Tristan Jones, colors by Josh Burchan, and letters by Tom Napolitano. The wrath of Godzilla is felt tenfold as doctors Olivia Morrison and Yuji Shibata get ready to undertake an experiment. Yuji, though, hesitates, telling Olivia he is frightened of bringing more death into the world. Olivia grabs his hand, assuring Yuji that they aren't creating a weapon, they have discovered the essence of God itself. And what does God do if not bring life? Both press the button, causing a huge explosion of green energy as they watch through their observation room, finding it to be a raging tempest, although Olivia finds it rather breathtaking, citing that she didn't expect it to be so green. Beginning a new Godzilla series with men messing with things they don't understand, trying to create a god or play God is a bit of a classic setup for the King of Monsters. It's something really that I like about the series. I love when they dive into the stuff like this. I'm going to be probably talking about Shin Godzilla a lot throughout this review because this book is very much inspired by Shin Godzilla, and that was something that was wrought through that movie as well, especially when it came to comparing Godzilla to a literal god being. You know, he has God in his name. He is, you know, an actual god being in this, and I can't wait to see where the writers take us on this journey because there's so many different directions you can go with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. Months later in 1954, Olivia lights a cigarette, telling the absent Yuji that she thinks she is being sent to prison. She climbs out onto the balcony railing, thinking about how they should send her to prison, wishing Yuji was there, but none of this is right. Realizing the time, she puts her cigarette out, knowing that they were always destined for great things, and it looks like they've killed the world as she surveys the destroyed Tokyo, the leftovers from Godzilla's first attack. Olivia heads to a hearing overseen by a very irate military commander who doesn't really like Olivia all that much, hoping that she got a good look at the city outside. The committee calm down and they ask where Yuji is, with no one really understanding where he is or why he isn't there at the moment, turning to demanding Olivia give them answers on how this could happen as people are dying as they speak. Olivia reveals that she was hired into a research station to look for a renewable energy source from unlikely places, and it wasn't long until their senses picked up something strange deep below the sea that led to contact with an undiscovered species that was hibernating under the ocean. Olivia knows that that creature is now awake and they need to face reality that they are facing an extinction level event. As I said before, this very much feels like Shin Godzilla vibes from this setup, especially with all this like government committee and trial stuff. That movie was full of all of that sort of stuff. That was almost the main focus of that, of how a nation deals with such a huge cataclysm like Godzilla coming and destroying most of their cities. Something I really enjoyed about that film as well, that sort of play-by-play on how they deal with it. It was really fun. And if this series can find that nice balance like Shin Godzilla did between the human stuff and then the giant monster rampage, you know, stuff we've never really seen with Godzilla before, especially in that Shin Godzilla film, I think we might be in for something really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to what Parker and Sheridan have in store for us. Months prior, Godzilla rises from the depths with a giant explosion of atomic breath, which causes a lightning storm to begin to form over Japan. The creature marches for dry land, where the inhabitants of a small Japanese town spot the building green-hued storms above. In the small town, the people find the trains have all stopped running, as if they've all lost power somehow, as a rumbling is felt around the ground. A young cabbie stops his Maneki Neko from falling off his dashboard as a young couple pile into his back seat, screaming at him to drive since it's coming and his wife is pregnant and he doesn't want to be there when she gives birth. He wants to be far away from it. So big props to Tristan Jones and Josh Burchan for just some really fucking awesome art. I love the idea of this whole black and off-white grey sort of style to it to kind of mimic the old 1954 Godzilla film, with green being the only color that kind of cuts through everything. It's kind of the thing that, you know, people associate with Godzilla, I guess. It's not really a color I associate with Godzilla. I don't particularly associate really any color. If I did, it would be like that weird sort of like bright blue of his atomic breath, but I guess like green works as well. I quite like the green. It really is a nice contrast to all of the darker colors, and it fits really well, and I like how they using it here with like the storms and like his atomic atomic breath, and like the scales on his tail and on his chest are all very green, and it kind of reminds me of Shin Godzilla, the final form of Shin Godzilla, where it's standing up on its two legs and it's got like the red scales all over it. Also, that first look we get of Godzilla, we just see like these two white little dots that represent his eyes as he looks over at the island, is just creepy. It's so damn creepy. And again, with the Shin Godzilla body type, the weird hands and like the scale, the dark scales with like the brighter color, it just looks so terrifying. The cabbie agrees to drive the couple, asking them what's really going on as lightning rumbles above and the road below them cracks open. Uninterested with questions now, the cabbie floors it, speeding through the tight town streets, but soon finds gridlocked traffic waiting for him on the other side, as everyone in town is trying to leave as well. Water suddenly floods the streets, washing away the cars as a giant scaled foot stomps down on the street. Olivia continues her story of that night and the things that she heard, trying to explain to the committee that they have to stop thinking about Godzilla as an animal. It's more like a walking mountain, and it kills not for survival, but from biological imperative. In the past, the cab is crushed by a dozen other cars being swept back into it by the water and shockwave from Godzilla's foot. A steel pole pierces the car, killing the couple in the back seat as the cabbie wakes up, trying to free himself from the wreckage. Now, this is how a Godzilla attack should be presented. It's from the point of view of people down on the ground, so really all they see is just that giant foot stepping down, and then it's just like chaotic. It's very violent. We get to see the couple here just take this giant massive pole to their head and it just like crushes them. It's just so visceral and violent, and I like it, and that's how it should be. The committee meanwhile demand to know if Olivia's work at the research station woke up Godzilla and begun this terrible nightmare, and she admits it did, but now thanks to their negligence, cities and armies are being decimated, something the commander knows very well and doesn't really want to admit. The group want to know where Dr. Yuji is, but Olivia has no idea, not seeing him in over 24 hours. The commander thinks that that's rather convenient since only 2 people in the world know what's really going on, and one of them seems to have gone on the lam. And I'm sure that's going to be a running thread through this series where we find out what exactly happened to Yuji. From what he was talking about in the start of the issue, you know, comparing this energy to Tempest, he was frightened about, you know, the implications of what would this do, you know, very much like a Robert Oppenheimer sort of situation. But I have to imagine he's probably gone maybe insane with what he saw. Maybe he, was killed, and Olivia doesn't want to admit it or something. But I think he's probably gone insane and is trying to, find something to destroy Godzilla with, or maybe he wants Godzilla to come because he thinks it's, as most people do in these sorts of situations in these monster films, they think that this is some wrath of God come for them, and I imagine that's something that he's going through as well. And very intrigued to see the mystery of what happened to Yuji Shibata. The commander tells Olivia that she is facing prison for the rest of her life, and this isn't time for her to be holding back, recommending that she tell them everything, if not for her children. Olivia reveals that they were recruited as part of a multinational think tank by an organization that now no longer exists and have all but disappeared from the face of the earth, with Olivia believing this organization just wanted to bury their work as they made a discovery that could change everything thanks to the source of the energy they found, something renewable and endless, and it's that research that could be used to save the world. Back in the town, the rain begins pouring down from the green lightning storm, but it's not normal water, as once it comes in contact with the skin of an old man watching Godzilla's rampage, he begins to violently mutate into a monster. This is the stuff I like, some good old body horror, and body horror connected to Godzilla, which never really happens. Again, this is very Shin Godzilla inspired, since really it highlights the god in Godzilla, giant who rose from the ocean, created rain, begun changing humanity in giant swaths like this. It's a million times more terrifying than just big monster rampaging through the city. Police try and usher people inside away from the rain, thinking it's some type of chemical attack, but it's too late as thousands of people are caught in the acidic downpour as Godzilla looms large over them. The committee meanwhile is given Olivia's research, which again the commander thinks that she was trying to hide. Olivia says that she was frightened since everything is at stake now, but the man doesn't care, looking over the research and asking her about this power source they found. Olivia explains that it's called Kaisei energy, and it contains power on a mythological scale that can be used as a deterrent against Godzilla, but also to build humanity a better tomorrow and a brighter future. Back in the town, the rain mutates everyone, on, turning some into horrible three-headed monsters, others into giant fleshy goo sacks, while others take on a more Godzilla-like lizard form. What a fantastic little twist to the end there. Some mini Godzillas born from what I assume is the energy Olivia found. I am assuming this whole green hue is, the energy, the Kaisei energy that she found, and it's related to Godzilla. It's basically Godzilla's power source, if you will. Again, it's like Shin Godzilla, which ended with the implication that Godzilla was about to evolve again and birth humanoid versions of itself from its tail. It's one of the things I really wish we got a follow-up on from that movie, since it was just so haunting, but I am glad the comic series seems to be using similar concepts to that. This reveal also opens up a world of possibilities of like what this universe is going to be like, because obviously this is completely different from like I guess you could call it the canon, quote unquote, 1954 Godzilla stuff. Like none of this actually happened after the events of the film or anything, so it's definitely a new universe. So you could definitely see loads of different implications coming from this. Like, are these the only people changed by Godzilla? Has the Godzilla changed many people around the world? Olivia and the committee were saying that it seems to be the end of the world, so it's possible that it's probably spread. And then on top of that, you've got Godzilla here being used as like sort of a deity. So are like people worshipping it? Are people building, religions around Godzilla? I'm really looking forward to seeing if the book dives into that, as well as more Shin Godzilla related stuff. Like I really liked all of like that politics surrounding like how do you deal with a monster who has arrived in a nation? Like what does that look like to people there? Like how are they responding to that? That was some of the stuff I loved from that film, and I'm hoping the series does some of that, but also comes back to this stuff, this really cool grotesque body horror stuff. It's just fantastic stuff you never really get to see with Godzilla because he's always off fighting giant monsters. So I'd love for there to be a plot thread there where we're following all these like mini mutating people who are turning into like Godzilla hybrids, and like what that means for the world. It's some really cool implications out there for this series, and I can't wait to see what they go with. The Horror of Godzilla issue 1 was a brilliant beginning to a new terrifying mini-series that is exploring Godzilla's role as a godlike being, not just to humanity, but also maybe his own race. I'm loving all of the Shin Godzilla inspiration this very clearly has. There's stuff in here that's building off of what we saw in that movie, stuff that I really enjoyed in that film, as well as really fleshing out some stuff that was teased, especially towards the end of that film, stuff I really wish we got to see a lot more of. So to have a series that goes full on into body horror concepts that movie played on, and use it as like one of the main focal points of the series, is just fantastic. And I can't wait to see where the writers lead us in this story. I have no idea where it could go, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the journey. It looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.